Hello, hello. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening. Sorry for the delay. Had some weird computer problems this morning. So today's probably going to be a very short stream. But we're going to keep working on what we were working on. We're going to keep changing our, laying the groundwork for our auto tiler. So I think the first thing I want to do is change this set of constants. And part of the reason is because we are no longer keying the ship tiles dictionary based on the type of tile. I think that's fine because there's like an exclusivity to a tile. Like a tile is going to be either a wall or just an empty tile, in which case it's a floor. Like it could be a floor. It could be a true void. So it could be a floor, a wall, a door. It could be a computer system or some kind of other mechanical thing. But I think we're going to have just a simple exclusivity to the ship tiles, and that means we can take the tile type out as part of the key, so the key is only going to be the coordinates. And then the value, I don't know what the value is going to be. Maybe it's going to be something about the neighboring tiles. Maybe it won't. Actually, I guess the value is going to need to be the type of tile. It's going to be an enumerable type of tile. At the moment we have null, floor, wall, and door. This tile flag system doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe it does actually. No, it doesn't. Oh, well, we're going to forget about that right now. The brush concept we want to get rid of. We already have that in tile. But yeah, let's work on these constants, because we don't need an adjacent XY. We can actually have the full set of adjacents. We can have XYZ, basically. I think. Say adjacent tile. And here, build bounds and flood bounds are going to be a little different. I think we could just have a single bounds and just use it differently. We could say less than or less than equals, because the only difference is 1. So let's say something like that. So we'll call it instead something like tile bounds volume. Oh no, it's not bounds, it's going to be minimum and maximum, huh? Unless I use an AABB, which I don't want to do because I want it to be vector 3s. We'll say max extent say tile max extent. the adjacent tile. And I'll say the full word. There's 3i. So at the moment it's -7, size 15 means +7, so +8 actually we want. I'm gonna say 8, 8, and then 5. So we want to say 6. We get some nice things by doing it this way, honestly. We could just say extent, and then we just could have negative extent. You know, forget it. Let's just say that. Adjacent tile, tile extent. We get rid of all of this. And we go through and we fix stuff. So tile extent dot z, tile extent negative tile extent dot y. This one. It's a little more complicated, a little more confusing, I guess. We don't actually want to be able to build all the way up to the tile extent. Maybe we call it ship extent. Probably note this. At least for the moment. Ship extent exceeds the buildable area by 1 so that we can always flood fill around. Around the ship. There we go. Probably note that better later, but works for now. Get rid of these enums. Distance up here. I'd actually need to double check the exact ordering on the style guide. So yeah, refactoring today. I know it's not exciting, but we're laying groundwork here, which is important. Let's go kill the rest of these compiler errors. Ethereal Smiles, hello. Welcome to the channel. How's it going? I'm working on is a little FTL-like. I don't know if you're familiar with FTL faster than light. We're making kind of a little Star Trek style, a little isometric real-time tactics game. Right now we're kind of refactoring what's going to be a building tool, an editor tool. And we've kind of changed the way it works, so I would love to show you a little bit of what we have already, but I need to fix some compiler errors. Hey, Ferlansky, welcome in. I tip my hat to you. How are you doing? I don't like this implicit aspect of this where I have just one extent. Should probably change that. So we can't say that anymore. We have to say if mouse coordinates. Shouldn't be mapped coordinates. Mapped coordinates are less than ship extent and mapped coordinates are greater than negative ship extent. I thought I replaced all of the cases of mouse coordinates. Is there a reason we're still doing this? Oh, it's because of the build balance. I was trying to deal with the compile errors, compilation errors here. All right, okay, so now we're replacing flood bounds, and we're using the same constant to describe all of this. So in this case, the initial tile start from the negative ship extent. Shoot. Doesn't actually work the way I want it to. And it's because we only have 6 layers. So negative, we can't just flip this and call it negative. Oh well, that's too bad. Let's make them separate. Call it, volume max. Extent volume min. We can still call it ship, huh? I like calling it volume, but it's not really the maximum and minimum of the ship. It's like the maximum and minimum of like the playable area. Say bound maximum. Spending so much time naming variables. Maybe we go back to having this be a single thing. I don't know. I think I like that better. Maybe build max. Maybe we just go back to what we had before. Have them be separate numbers. Actually, I don't think they need to be different numbers, do they? I'm gonna look at my flood fill algorithm real quick. Because what we want to make sure is that we're correctly evaluating if something is at the edge of space. I'm not too deep in thought. Yeah, you can pick my brain on a Godot question. I can't promise I have a good answer. I'm like not an expert. But I will do my best. You're working on a bit of an inventory thing and you want to hide, disable an object when it's picked up rather than destroy it. Is there a simple way to do that in Godot? Unity just had an enabled flag on an object. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I actually love that the default for Godot is to just hide, like, visually the node. Like, I feel like in Unity the equivalent of, like, clicking this eyeball, like, disabled the object. Kind of like that that's not how this works. You just want to disable it in terms of you don't want to process it, right? Just change its process mode to disabled. And it won't run its process function. Will doing that hide it visually also? I don't think so. I think you'd also need to turn off its visibility. You'd want to turn off its canvas items visibility and the node's process mode to disabled. That's the simple way to do that. Will that have consequences? I don't know. I haven't done a ton with that. Because you can always just unload and reload stuff if you really need to get rid of something. Like you can destroy it and reload it. But if you just want to suspend it, I think that will work. Will it receive signals while its process mode is disabled? I'm actually not sure. Alright, so the reason why I have these as separate, a build limit and a flood fill limit, is so that we can flood fill around the outside of the ship. And I'm just wondering if... wondering how to deal with the underside of the ship is what I'm trying to think about. I want to make sure that the underside is, like, correctly getting flood filled around it. So I could make it -1. Yeah, I guess there's no reason not to make that just -1. Currently, the system destroys the object on pickup, but that's slightly more inconvenient when trying to respawn it than just turning it back on. Oh yeah, I guess if you want to just pool it that way, you could probably disable it and hide it visually. Yeah, inventory is always interesting. I don't think I've ever seen two inventory systems that work the same way. I'm just gonna make these separate. It's like the easiest thing to do here. mean, the nice thing about keeping it around, I guess, is if the object changes while it's in your inventory, like if you can act on the object, like if you can remake it or change some characteristic about it, you can always just change the same characteristic on the object, on the node itself. And then when you re-enable it, like if you drop it, it'll have those characteristics. And you don't have to like regenerate the whole thing. So I get that. That seems reasonable. So why does this just go... I know why it's two-dimensional. We need to make it three-dimensional now. We actually need to add another loop here. Range is exclusive, right? Stops before N, okay. So we need to pad this. Yeah, it's not a big inventory system. It's more like a primary, secondary weapon system. So you feel like unloading it would be bad practice. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, you could even keep the thing visible. And, like, I don't know how your character looks, but you could even, like, strap whatever weapon they're not using, like, onto their back or, like, onto their side or something. I don't know. I don't know how modular you want to make that. But there's some cool options, for sure. Managing animations like that is really hard, I know. Let's see. 3i, x, y, z. Okay, so we can paint across multiple layers now. We'll have to change some things about how that works. But that's a cool benefit of having gotten rid of our direct interfacing with the tile map layers. So we can operate over multiple layers simultaneously now. Okay, so we don't need to do this 3 different ways like we have here. You can get rid of this. We still need to do a check, I guess, actually. We do need to make a different check. Say for offset in vector 3, adjacent tile. Interesting that we're doing this check up here. Okay, so we've got our array, we've got our stack, which starts with our initial tile. Well, the stack isn't empty. We go to the next. We grab our tile. Or no, we have a next, but we grab our tile. If the array doesn't have this tile, which is it starts as the initial tile, we add it to our array. And then we say if ship tiles doesn't have this, we would say this differently. We would say if ship tiles if not ship tiles is tile.wall and not ship tiles tile.door. Oh, oops. Why are we saying tile.xyz? Oh, we can just say tile. This doesn't actually have to be separate lines now. Not quite that long. Okay, so if not ship tiles tile, not ship tiles door. So if the ship tile is neither a wall nor a door, then we do this. That's an interesting way to do it. Why are we doing that? It's because we want to make sure that we add the tile. But we don't want to move past it. I'm going to need to make these doors as thick as a wall, is what I'm going to need to do if we treat the doors as walls. And actually, the doors are going to be more complicated. For this part, it's okay because we're assuming the doors are closed. But at runtime, we're not going to be able to assume that, but that's fine. Because we actually want to know what the separate partitions are. And if a door gets opened, we'll handle that as a separate thing. Okay. So if the tile that we're looking at is not a wall or a door, then we will keep flood filling. So I had these as 3 different steps because we were handling them differently. Now we're going to have handle the up and down as the same. They're all just in the adjacent tile. So we need a little piece of logic here. So we add the offset. We check to make sure that the the offset is in the flood bounds, so we're going to say if next is less than or equal to flood max, and next is greater than or equal to flood min. And now we need to add this logic for the vertical movement, because the vertical movement we want to do a different check. I want to say if offset dot z is not equal to 0, well, or if it is equal to 0, we can do it one way, else we'll do it a different way. So if it is equal to 0, we're not handling verticality. We're saying, and then in that case, we just want to say if not ship tiles next. Actually, I guess we would say if ship tiles dot has next. Getting not great. Putting the tile type as part of the key was kind of good in a way, but it makes sense that we don't necessarily want to do that. But this is getting complicated. Luckily, we only need to do the flood fill once. Ship tiles next. It's not equal to. Oh, we would just basically use this logic again, huh? If not, ship tiles equals walls, and not. This is not how we want to do this. We want to say not equal to. I don't love how nested we're getting here. I guess we should do this check first. We can do this check up here, actually. Else, if ship tiles next. So if we're going up and down, what we're concerned about is floors, not walls and doors. And this doesn't need to be a dictionary, this ship tiles thing. It could be an array, but the dictionary right now. So we're not really using tile.null very much. We maybe want to. These are all the conditions under which we will append the stack. We're basically just finding valid tiles to check next. Oh, so if we're going down 0, so we actually need an elif here. We need to say elif offset dot z. This is not better than the than the code I had before, but it's fine. It's a single loop, so whatever. So if it's greater than 0, we want to check the next tile is not a floor. But if it's less than 0, we actually want to check ourselves. We want to check the current tile is not a floor. This is a lot worse. This is a lot worse than what I had. That's fun. What if tile is empty space? If ship tiles.has next. What if ship tiles.has tile? When do I need to care about that? Say if ship tiles dot has tile. I'll look at what I had before. I don't love this. There we go. That's what it was. The main point of the flood fill at first is to determine all of the tiles that are exposed to outer space. That's its main job. Of course, then it also identifies each of the following compartments, like each of the compartments that exist in the ship afterward. And it works. We just needed to work now that we've changed how ship tiles is structured. It's no longer keyed to the tile type, which is fine because tiles are exclusive, so it doesn't need to be. But it does make it a little more complicated. Hey, Windaflatus. How's it going? Long time no see. Yeah, I took last week off. I was building a new computer. But we're back this week. We're good. We did a lot of stuff. We did a jam back in April, and we worked on it for the next like couple of months after that. So April, May, and part of June were all spent working on this jam game that I actually still need to finish and release in like a final form. And then yeah, we've been working on this. I need to get rid of some compiler errors before I can show you what's going on. But we basically have a 3D ship that we can visually navigate around. I'm working on the editing tools, which will let us build ships using an auto tiler, because I kind of need my own auto tiler. So we're kind of deep into that at the moment. But yeah, we're doing good. We got another game jam coming up in at the end of the month. So excited to do that. We'll take a weekend to do that. So maybe we're not as far along with this as I would like, but we've been taking some nice breaks to work on some other stuff. But how are you been? It's good to see you. We're mainly refactoring my flood fill algorithm here. So we basically did the adjacent steps and then did the vertical steps, which seems a lot easier and better than what I was doing. So let's go back up to the constant. Let's say adjacent tile XY. Just say adjacent tiles, and we'll get rid of the Z ones. Get rid of these two. adjacent tile. XY. We don't say XY. You see I updated to 4.3. Tile map layers should be godsend for this project. You're goodish. Haven't had a lot of energy to do much personally. Yeah, no worries. I feel that. Yeah, we did update to 4.3. Tile map layers have been key for us. So we actually did have to reimagine a lot of stuff because obviously we had to blow up our whole node structure. So our now our, let me see if I can grab one. I can grab this one. So our ship, this is a really ugly experimental ship, but like our ship is a hull, and each hull is multiple decks, and each deck has multiple tile map layers. It's actually more than this, but yeah, we've kind of blown apart the structure of the ship, which has been very helpful, especially for eventually spawning scene collections as pieces of the tile map layers. So that's pretty good. It is really good for us. That was huge. A huge change. A huge reworking, but really helpful. I'm really glad you stopped by. We've got a Discord up now. If you want go live message or is there anything? It's kind of still small potatoes. We aren't. It's a pretty small group at the moment. I'm hoping the next game jam at the end of the month will grow the community. It seems like whenever I do a game jam, we get a huge boost in the number of people that are aware of the channel. So I'm trying to do more game jams to increase the size of our community here. Do we yet find skeletons or other things in the frame of the ship? We can. Everything is very chunky now. So the walls are chunky, and we've got a set of our auto tiler is basically going to handle everything per face. So we're definitely going to hide stuff in between the walls of the ship. That's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun for us. We kind of did all of this based on the assumption that a whole cube, like a whole cube of the ship was an individual tile. But like, so we operated on a cube as the individual unit, but the combinatorics got out of control of all the different possible combinations. So we're breaking it down further, and we're going to just operate on the size, the scale of individual faces. Not this tile set. So we're going to work on the scale of individual faces so that the combinatorics, we have to handle in code still, but we can do it a lot more easily in code than I think we can on the asset creation side. So we're kind of refactoring everything because we were directly setting the tile map layers. And now we need to add some layers of abstraction so we can determine what tile is in the cubic volume, like what tile is there, and then have the auto tiler plug in the correct faces. So that's part of what we're doing here is we made a bunch of changes to make that work, and I'm kind of just going through and fixing everything for it. You were already in the Discord? Oh no, you just joined now. Yay! Very glad to see you. All right, so adjacent tile. So for each of the adjacent tiles, we want to make sure, so we can't do it this way. We can say if next is less than or equal to flood max, and next is greater than or equal to flood min. If that's what we want to check. Is that really what we want to check? Because what we actually want to do... Oh, no, we don't want to check if it's a wall or a door or a floor. This is adequate. Here. Why is this unhappy with me? Oh, and. Yeah, we're going kind of ham on this. But I don't mind. Like, we had some stuff working before, but as you could see with like the combinatorics, creating the assets would have been so hard to do that I've decided to approach it differently, because progress is maybe a little slow, but we're gonna really, our future selves will appreciate this. Now let's see. Less than. It's next. Okay, no, yeah, that's right. Is less than. So if this tile is less than or equal, so if we say it's less than this, flood max. No, we can't do it that way. We need to say less than or equal. .z. The amount of variation is ridiculous. Gotta have the auto tiling set up. Yeah, we gotta. That's what we're doing. It is a must-have. If not ship tiles.has, this isn't exactly what we want. We want to say if not ship tiles. Yeah, this is exactly what we want to check. We want to say if ship tiles doesn't have this. Hey, Cubus. How's it hanging? We're trucking along here. We actually... So if tile.z... So are we checking to see if the ship thing has this? So we're going to say if... So if we're trying to go down, we actually don't want to check the next tile. We want to check our tile. So next is tile. So we want to say if not ships tiles dot has us. So if we're trying to go down, we just want to make sure that we're not ourselves a floor tile, or we can't go down any further. Right? Yeah, we only want to go down if we aren't a floor tile, or any other tile for that matter. Pancake time over here? Hell yeah. Or crepe, rather. Wind, you've got a couple of Friday evening beers, but you could use pancake too. If pancake can be pronounced properly, at least. Yeah, I make no promises that I'm able to pronounce crepe correctly. That's good. I was thinking about having pancakes tomorrow. I might. It might happen. All right, get tile source ID. Could not find source ID in the current scope. Okay, that's new. Oh, was this like an enum that I had at some point? Oh, well, we can temporarily hide all of that. We're not going to actually use that. We'll probably get rid of it soon. Same with this. Probably get rid of all of that. I just want to keep it around for a minute. Remap ship tiles we don't need to think about right now. Okay, so the flood fill should work with our new paradigm here. Okay, so there's an assumption I'm making here, which is that ship tiles does not contain null tiles. We still have a null tile as a thing, mainly for the eraser tool, but we're gonna need to be careful that we don't use it. We don't use it too much. Like, let me go look through here and find the ship tile cases. So hidden tiles towards a ship tile. Yeah, if the eraser is active, we fill the pending tiles with null. But we just need to make sure. Ship tiles chords is pending tile chords. Yeah, so this is a problem. We can't actually do this. We would need to say we can say this. Otherwise we would say ship tiles dot erase chords. We keep it in the hidden tiles. We can use null for the hidden tiles, that's fine. So we need to change it here too, don't we? Yeah, this we can't do. You just say erase. Hopefully that works okay. It might not. We should be able to restore from the hidden tiles. Just array filter first. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We could filter the array first. The thing is, if ship tiles becomes, yeah, hope usually works. Yeah, I find that's the case. The problem is if ship tiles we end up just filling the whole thing, like densely pack it, and we say we put tile null where there is no tile, then ship tiles might as well be an array if it's going to be densely packed. Like, it might as well be an array anyway. Right now it's a dictionary, but I don't know. There's a part of me that says that for like the sake of database normalization, we should not be storing null values. Like, I don't mind tile null being a thing in the enum because we want to apply it. And there's the hidden tiles and the pending tiles both want it in case we roll anything back. We want to know what we're doing. So like here, when we're actively building. So yeah, we want to know that pending tiles has this coordinate, even if we've added a null tile to it. Because we want to know that we've already operated on it. And then we would try to reveal the hidden tile if we wanted to roll it back. And so try reveal hidden tile. Yeah, if it has this and this is null, it'll just roll. Well, okay. So we would say something here as well. We would say if hidden tiles coords is tile.null else. We'd say ship tiles coords dot erase. Or no, we'd say ship tiles dot erase coords. We might change this eventually. I prefer this for now. I might change my mind. I reserve the right to change my mind. We need to add this as well. Don't you already have the tile data in the tile map layer node? So the dictionary of tiles is just double data over that one, if it makes sense? No, not anymore. That did used to be true, which is why this is our ship editor class. And our ship editor class used to operate directly on the tile map layers because there was a 1-to-1 ratio of that. Like if you look over here, we have a layer for the floor, a layer for the walls. I don't want to see this. Why do you keep loading? I guess it's just automatically doing that, doesn't it? Okay. We have a layer for the floor, a layer for the wall, a layer for the door. So that was true here. And we were directly operating on these layers. Now our system looks more like this. We have floor layer X, floor layer Y, floor layer Z, wall layer X, wall layer Y, wall layer Z. And it's because each of these layers are now only responsible for one of the faces. So it'll be responsible for the Y or left face, the X or right face, which is just a mirror of these. Can I set cell and flip a cell? I feel like I can't do that. Would I need to have those as alternative tiles? I would, wouldn't I? If I want to have mirror image. I don't know if I want to do that. We might need to change our atlas a little bit to accommodate the flipped version of these tiles. Tile map layer. Yeah. Mind-bogglingly complex setup. Thumbs up for that. Yeah. It's not great. I think it'll be helpful. Because remember, we're also trying to make it so we can rotate these. So I'm actually okay separating the, what I'm calling like a canonical representation, like the simulation representation of the tile. So calling these tiles is probably confusing because we're referring to something else. We're almost referring to like a grid object. Like we're referring to a volume, which consists of multiple tiles. So we maybe need to change our terminology. Our terminology is still from the time when there was a 1-to-1 ratio of the tile to like the tile, basically. Yeah, dang, we need to come up with a different terminology. That's okay, though. We'll get there. Man, I wish I hadn't started so late today. Making good progress. My computer was being so weird, though. When I first went live, it was dropping like 90% of the frames. Actually, it was dropping 100% of the frames due to encoding lag. And then it took my computer like 15 minutes to restart because I guess it was retraining the memory or something. It's doing some weird BIOS thing that computers sometimes do when you set it up with not Expo. It's the other one. Yeah, you had to have a good fight with Twitch to convince it you were finally went live. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean I went live and then I was down for like 15 minutes. Yeah, lagging because of the Intel layoffs. We're on AMD. Let's be clear. We picked the good CPU. We're on a 7950 X3D, which has been kind of a beast so far. And we got a 4080 Super, so it was definitely not encoding lag. There was just something weird happening. Okay, I have some time. I have like 20 minutes. I should try to do something productive for my 20 minutes here. What's the next thing we can start pulling apart? I'm really sad about our tile map snapshot save and loading system, which we're going to have to redo. Because that also was just based on saving and loading the tile map data directly to the layers, the shift layers, which I guess we can still do. That's going to be a bit of a refactor. All right, does the partition ship space thing still work? I guess that's the next thing, because this is the top part of the flood fill algorithm. This is the part that iterates through each partition. This should still work. None of this should have changed. While this part needs to change, actually. While ship tiles has... Pick random. Ship tiles has vector 4i, init tile, init tile, init tile 1. So we basically are saying we don't want to start from a wall. We actually can totally start from a wall. As long as partition tile, partition count, flood fill from the inside. For tile in partition tile, if untested tiles dot has tile. There is one edge case I can see that would really fuck us up, which is that if we have a wall that's 3 layers thick, like if there's an interior wall that has nothing but walls on the other sides of it, our partition system is not going to know what to do with that. So we could add a check here for that and make sure we're not loading a tile that has walls on every side of it. That seems so unlikely that anyone would do that, but I feel like we need to defend against it. Maybe we should just not allow that to happen on the building level. But for now, we actually don't need this check, I think. I think we just pull any untested tile, and that is an acceptable... I'm just going to comment this out, because I don't think we need it. But I'm going to leave it in there just as a reminder of an error, an issue that we might run into eventually. I'm going to change this to say tile.wall. Well, yeah. Wall. I don't want to mess with the snapshotting system right now, so we're basically not going to have undo, redo, and save load for a minute. But that's okay with me. So what else can we do? What's an easy win we can get? We need to start thinking about how we're actually going to go from this abstracted ship tile. Yeah, we really need another word for this rather than tile. The tile is like the facade. We want like a block maybe or something? I don't know. Grid something. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. So yeah, so in theory, the system builds and maintains a list of ship tiles, which is like the overall structure of what we've got, which is like this, which I can actually run now. So these are blocks. These are currently, this is an old scene that I'm maintaining as best I can so that we can show this off. So we've got multiple decks stacked on top of each other. The editor still probably doesn't work, so I'm not going to bother running it. And so we need a system that goes from this abstract list of like each of these blocks. So yeah, this would break. This thing in the middle here where I have this like thick triple thick wall thing. That would break. Yeah, actually that's how we defend against it. Okay. Pardon me, I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. Anytime you declare that you're gonna sneeze, your body's like, well, fine. I'm not gonna sneeze. Fuck you. I'm like, thanks. Thanks, body. Alright. So what we want to say is while ship tiles init tile is a wall. So we just aren't going to start in a wall. That's how we're defending against this. We'll just get rid of that tile so we don't consider it again. Okay, so this way we don't start a partition search, start a flood fill within inside of a wall. That's adequate. That's adequate defense against this. I feel like that's gonna cause problems later. Like, I'll have to be able to handle like walls that just don't belong to any partition. It's gonna be weird. All right, so we've got our ship tiles thing, which we may rename, which is the value of the tile and this stuff. Now we need to think about the neighbor information, which was originally being handled down here. This gets tile source ID. So originally we were making this simple because we were basically picking a source ID based on essentially this information. Let me grab it. Atlas chords faces. These are basically the different combinations, like face combinations. Like here's a tile that is entirely entombed on all sides by other wall tiles. Here's a maybe add a solid to tiles for a tile that has walls all around. Maybe. What we were doing there, which I was concerned with, is we're basically breaking the ship up into partitions using a flood fill. So the way that worked is that the initial partition, partition 0, is basically all of the tiles that were exposed to the outside, exposed to outer space, because we start searching from like the outermost corner of the volume. And then each partition after partition 0 is an interior space. It's a space that's guaranteed to be enclosed on all sides. So I think I just have to be okay with the possibility that some tiles do not belong to any partition. And those would be those wall tiles that are completely entombed. I think I have to be okay with that unless I want to get more complicated with the flood fill. Which we could do. How have I not done this yet? Wind roles manager. Add new. Wind of Hiatus. Use one of my very last VIP spots here for you. You're the original first chatter that we ever had, either on Twitch or YouTube. I think that needs to be acknowledged. Okay, so the way we were doing this here is we were looking at the neighbors. We were saying... I know, I wasn't respecting your core status. If I can't get you a founder badge, I want to at least get you that. I think last time you were here, I didn't have access to those. We got really lucky. I ended up getting affiliate status right when the first day of the Ludum Dare game jam. It ended up being really good for us. Good timing. And yeah, we got our next jam in just 3 weeks. Exactly 3 weeks, I think. Maybe not exactly. No, yeah, exactly. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 weeks. August 23rd. The Practical NPC and Captain Coder's solo dev game jam. It's gonna be awesome. Drop a link in the chat if anyone's interested. I feel like we got a lot of solo developers in the house. All right, so what this one was doing was it was looking at the positive X neighbor, the positive Y neighbor, and the positive Z neighbor. And it was saying, are any of you exposed to the outside? And that was basically picking for us our source ID, which is kind of laid out here. But this is not how we're going to do it anymore, because the problem with this was we basically needed one of these. Why do I keep closing this file? Go. No, not that one. This one. We basically needed one of these, which is a 256 sprite tile atlas for every single one of those 16 possible face combinations. And that's why we moved away from this whole single tile thing, using the cube as our tile. Didn't work because that's outrageous. Yeah, we'd need one of those for each of these. So instead, we're going to assemble them face by face. So first, we need to identify what the faces are. Or maybe, here's an idea, maybe this part happens entirely down very low at the individual tile map layer. Maybe that's where we do it. That's where I would like to do it, where each tile map layer just cares about its own faces. Then we don't need to store a lot of stuff. I would like to cache that information, probably. But we can think about caching that information later. That's where I would like to do it, down here, where we actually do the runtime, the notify runtime tile data update stuff. So should we give the layer access directly to that ship tile? We need to store that somewhere. I think we need to store that here on the ship hull. that tile configuration. Put that here. Put that variable ship tiles. And is it a dictionary? Is it an array? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I'm snoozing the ads. We're probably going to be... We need to wrap it up in the next few minutes. Should we be able to just... Should each layer be able to go up and grab this live? Yeah, we probably don't want to store this on every single layer. That would be insane. So we'll probably just have one copy here up on the ship hull. So a ship hull... Let me grab the scene. This is kind of how we're arranging it now. Starship. So a starship consists of a ship hull. The ship hull consists of a number of ship decks. And then a ship deck consists of all of the individual tile map layers that make it up. So the layers will probably go up to the deck, go up to the hull, and ask for this information. I'm okay with storing this information on the hull, which is not the highest level. The starship itself is the highest node of it. And that's because there will probably be things other than the hull that we associate with the ship. Maybe. So yeah, let's do that here. And then we'll basically have each layer. These are getting passed by reference, right? I'm going to say yes. Dictionaries are always passed by reference. That's beautiful. That's what we want. Ship level is the node 2D. Okay, I'm going to think about this. Gotta get to work, so I think that's about all the time that we have for today. I'm gonna figure out who we can raid. Suggestions are... We do take suggestions. Tempted to raid Sorcery Story, as always. She's the best. There's quite a few people doing Godot right now. Look, there we are. Somewhere in the middle. Not familiar with a lot of these. Oh, Full Bong Rip is streaming. He was here yesterday. Full Bong Rip is it's a nice guy. He's learning Godot. Let's go hang out. Let's go give some love to Full Bong Rip. You're already watching Sorcery. All right, well, you can keep doing that. We're gonna raid Full Bong Rip. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We're gonna spread the love to the smaller streamers here. I hope everyone has a great weekend. It's been great seeing everyone, especially, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna single anyone out. It's great to see all of you. It's nice to see you again, Windaflatus. It's been a while. If anyone wants raid notification, or not raid note, if anyone wants streaming notifications, we got a Discord that's starting to grow. Oh, hey, Bernardo. Maybe I'll get to catch your stream tomorrow while I'm having my pancake breakfast. That'd be nice. But yeah, let's give the love to Full Bong Rip here, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.